Be aware that this space will continue to address spiritual battles with spiritual understanding, grounded in Naomi Selman-inspired wisdom. It brings deep concern to see innocent people weighed down by rejection, shame, and negative influences they were never meant to carry. Many do not realize that rejection is not natural. It is a spiritual tactic designed to shut doors, disrupt connections, and push away blessings meant for you. Behind the scenes, unseen forces move quietly, observing, following, and taking advantage while lives remain stalled. This is why so many people put in great effort, yet things collapse just before a breakthrough. They attend interviews but never receive a call back. They enter relationships only to be suddenly dismissed. They submit proposals and hear nothing in return. That is rejection at work. And behind it lies a harmful influence rooted in curses, negative agreements, and jealous forces assigned to obstruct your progress. But understand this clearly today. Rejection is not permanent, and negative influence does not have the final say over your life. You were never created to move through life unwanted or overlooked. You were designed for acceptance, open opportunities, favor, and peace. Darkness resists this by forming unseen barriers around you, barriers that only spiritual answers can remove. And here's a truth many will never share: even a few drops of water prepared with spiritual intention, salt water spoken over with authority, can disrupt rejection, scatter harmful influence, and confuse every hidden watcher of your life. This is not magic, and it is not superstition. This is spiritual understanding. Salt has long been known as a purifier, a preserver, and a force that breaks dark agreements. When combined with water, it becomes a powerful cleansing agent that drives away harmful influence from both your surroundings and your body. Using 3 drops is more than an act of cleansing. It sends a clear message in the spiritual realm that the limit has been reached. It declares that rejection has ended, that every watching eye is disrupted, and that your purpose will no longer be delayed. These 3 drops carry authority, and when applied with faith, they reopen doors others shut and quiet those who believed you would never rise. This is why what I am about to share cannot be overlooked. Too many people endure quietly, carrying weights they should have been released from long ago. Because they were never shown how to engage spiritually, they come to see loss as normal. That season ends now. Naomi Selman-inspired wisdom brings clarity meant to bring freedom. The very understanding opponents hope you never uncover. Stay with me, because what follows will explain why rejection and negative influence attach themselves to people, and how salt water becomes a simple yet effective means to break their grip. What you are about to hear will reshape how you view spiritual conflict and place a solution in your hands that can be used immediately. Rejection does not come without a cause. It has roots, and these roots are often spiritual. Some people were cursed in their childhood, spoken against by family, teachers, or neighbors who release negative words over their lives. Words carry power, and when they are spoken in anger or jealousy, they can plant seeds of rejection in the spirit realm. These seeds grow into invisible walls that push away blessings and opportunities. That is why no matter how qualified or prepared you may be, rejection finds you. It is not your fault. It is a spiritual barrier. Others suffer rejection because of hidden altars. These are evil spiritual agreements made knowingly or unknowingly, sometimes even by ancestors that now speak against your life. An altar is a place where agreements are made. When it is corrupt, it carries bonds of restriction, delay, and rejection. Though invisible to the natural eye, there is often a spiritual record speaking in opposition. Until that record is cleared, rejection continues to appear. Then there is envy and jealousy. Many times people turn against you not because of your character, but because of what you carry. They notice your light, your potential, your purpose, and it unsettles them. As a result, negative intent is released, failure is wished, false words are spread, and barriers are formed along your way. These influences combine to create an unseen weight that drives away the right people, opportunities, and favor. This is why rejection often seems without reason. Now consider the role of salt. Salt has long represented purity, preservation, and covenant. Even in ancient times, it was used to purify land, preserve food, and seal promises. Spiritually, salt represents permanence. Wow! tea is preserved by salt cannot decay easily. In the same way, when you use salt in spiritual warfare, you are declaring that rejection and bad energy will no longer have a permanent place in your life. Instead, divine favor and acceptance will be preserved around you. Salt also breaks evil covenants. Many spiritual battles are fueled by covenants, agreements made in the spirit that give demons legal rights over people. But salt carries authority to break those agreements. When you release salt with prayer, you are saying that every evil contract signed against you is broken. You are canceling their power, scattering their hold, and restoring your rightful standing in the presence of God and man. This is why salt alone is powerful, but when combined with water, its effect becomes greater. Water is the symbol of cleansing, renewal, and life. Wherever water flows, death is washed away, new growth is sustained, and life flourishes. When you mix salt into water and pray over it, you create a cleansing weapon that not only purifies but also preserves. It removes the debt of rejection and seals you with divine acceptance. It washes away bad energy and builds a wall of protection around you. Now you may ask, why 3 drops? The number 3 has always carried divine authority. It represents completion, strength, and agreement. When you use 3 drops of salt water, you are aligning yourself with divine order. You are declaring that rejection is finished, bad energy is scattered, and your enemies are permanently blinded. This is not a random number. It is a spiritual key that seals your cleansing and but protection. Think of it this way. 1 drop stands for cleansing, the 2nd drop stands for preservation, and the 3rd drop stands for sealing. When all 3 are combined, they complete the cycle of spiritual warfare. Nothing can remain standing against you after you apply those 3 drops with faith. It is not about the amount of the water, but about the authority and intention behind it. Many people underestimate simple things. They think that only complicated rituals work. Yet God often hides power in simple solutions. Salt water is one of those solutions. It is not about tradition. It acts. It's about spiritual truth. Rejection and bad energy are stubborn, but they cannot resist the authority carried by salt and water prayed over with faith. This is why I say rejection is not permanent. Once you know the keys, you can break free. The enemy thrives on your ignorance. As long as you do not know how to fight, you remain trapped. But when you discover the power of 3 drops of salt water, you step into victory. You no longer suffer silently, but you fight back spiritually, and the atmosphere around you begins to change. Now imagine applying this in your life. You go for an interview, but instead of rejection, you are received with favor. You enter a relationship, but instead of abandonment, you are cherished and valued. You present your work, and instead of silence, you receive acceptance and opportunity. That is the power of destroying rejection and bad energy spiritually. In the next part, I will take you deeper into how to prepare this water, how to apply it, and how to see its effects. This is not theory. It is a proven spiritual weapon that blinds enemies and opens doors. If you are ready to see transformation, stay with me because the next steps are practical and will change your life. Now that you understand why rejection follows people and why salt water is powerful, let us move into the practical side. Many people fail in spiritual warfare because they complicate things or ignore instructions. The preparation of salt water is simple, but it must be done with focus and faith. Start with clean water. It can be from your tap, a bottle, or a natural source as long as it is pure. Then add a pinch of sea salt or rock salt. Do not use too much. A small amount carries great power when blessed through prayer. Once you have mixed the weight, and salt, set it aside in a clean container. Before you use it, pray over it. Hold it in your hand and declare that it is no longer ordinary water, but a weapon of cleansing and protection. Speak words of authority that rejection will vanish, that bad energy will scatter, that every monitoring spirit will be blinded. Remember, the power is not in the water alone, but in the prayer and intention you release into it. Without prayer, it is just water. With prayer, it becomes a spiritual sword. The moment the salt water is prepared, it must be applied correctly. This is where many people fail, but I will guide you step by step. Take 3 drops and place them on your head. The head is the crown of your destiny. When you anoint your head with those drops, you are declaring that your thoughts, decisions, and future are protected from rejection and failure. You are sealing your mind and your path with divine favor. Then take another 3 drops and place them on your hands. Your hands represent your labor, your work, and your productivity. When rejection is at work, your hands build but others reap. You walk but you are not rewarded. By applying salt water to your hands, you are declaring that everything you touch will prosper and that no bad energy will block the fruit of your labor. You can also place 3 drops at your doorway or entrance. Your home is your covering, and rejection often begins by scattering peace within. By dropping salt water at your door entrance, you are declaring that bad energy cannot cross into your house, that enemies who try to monitor or attack you will be blinded before they even come near. Your home becomes a fortress of peace, acceptance, and divine presence. Now let me tell you what happens when you apply this in faith. Doors that were once closed suddenly open. People who rejected you without reason begin to see you in a new way. Opportunities that were blocked are released. You walk into places and instead of being ignored, you are noticed. Instead of being cast aside, you are chosen. That is the spiritual shift that salt water creates when used properly. Enemies also lose their grip over you. They may try to monitor, but they will see nothing. They may try to attack, but their weapons will not work. They may try to see, the course will come back to them. Rejection feeds on open access, but once you seal yourself with salt water, the access point is shut and they cannot touch you anymore. Consistency is important. Do not think one application will undo years of rejection and bad energy. Use it often, especially when you feel resistance, when doors are closing, or when you're about to step into something new. Each time you do it, the spiritual barrier weakens until it breaks completely. And once it breaks, your life will never be the same again. Some people may laugh at this and call it foolish, but do not be deceived. The greatest spiritual truths often look simple. What they do not know is that power is not in appearance, but in authority. Salt water carries an authority that darkness cannot resist. And when you activate it with prayer, no enemy, no curse, no rejection can stand against it. You must also guard your heart during this process. Do not use salt water while holding bitterness or fear. Enter into it with faith and confidence, knowing that God has already given you the victory. The water is only a point of contact, a physical symbol of a greater spiritual reality. If you believe, you will see results. This is not about tradition or superstition. It is about spiritual wisdom hidden in plain sight. 3 drops of salt water are more powerful than 1,000 words spoken in fear. With faith, they carry authority to dismantle rejection, scatter bad energy, and blind enemies forever. In the next part, I will show you how this act not only protects you, but also blinds your enemies completely, why consistency multiplies your results, and how discernment will help you know when to apply it for maximum breakthrough. Stay close because this is where the deeper mysteries are shown. When you use 3 drops of salt water in faith, something happens in the spirit that your physical eyes may not see, but your enemies will feel. Monitoring spirits, those invisible agents sent to watch your life and report back to evil altars, suddenly lose their sight. It is as if a veil covers their eyes. They try to watch, but they see nothing. They try to follow, but they are lost. This is what it means when we say your enemies are blinded. They may still exist, but they no longer have access to your destiny. Blinding enemies is not about physical harm. It is about cutting off their spiritual intelligence. Every battle you face in life begins with information. If the enemy can see your next move, he can prepare an attack ahead of you. But when you use salt water, you seal your steps in secrecy. Your blessings begin to manifest suddenly without warning, because no enemy was able to block them in advance. That is why many testimonies after this practice sound like sudden turnarounds. Consistency in using salt water multiplies the results. Many people try once and give up when they do not see instant change. But spiritual warfare often requires persistence. Every time you use 3 drops, you are reinforcing your SEC protection, strengthening your covering, and scattering the hold of rejection. Think of it like removing layers of darkness. With each application, another layer falls until finally the light shines fully over your life. This is why persistence is key. Now, discernment is equally important. Not every problem requires the same solution. Some battles are financial, some are relational, some are generational. Rejection and bad energy are specific battles, and salt water is the weapon designed for them. You must learn to sense when rejection is spiritual. if doors are closing without reason, if people avoid you without explanation, if you feel unseen or invisible. Then, when qualified, then you know rejection is at work. That is when you prepare your 3 drops. Another sign of rejection is delay. You may start well but never finish. People show interest but never commit opportunities. Begin but never conclude. These are symptoms of bad energy influencing your life, and salt water is your answer. With discernment, you can apply it at the right time before interviews, before meetings, before travel, or when you sense resistance rising against you. But let me warn you, this practice must be done with purity of heart. Do not use salt water for revenge or selfish gain. Its power is rooted in cleansing and protection, not manipulation. When you apply it in bitterness or with evil intentions, you corrupt its spiritual purpose and instead approach it with the heart of someone seeking peace, acceptance, and breakthrough. That is when the power flows freely. Avoid careless use. Some people treat it like a superstition, applying it without prayer, without focus, without faith. To them, it remains ordinary water. The difference between ordinary water and a spiritual tool lies in the prayer and faith released into it. Always remember that it is not the liquid itself that disrupts opposition, but the authority carried in your words. Without prayer, the drops hold no power. With prayer, they carry force. Do not combine this practice with a harmful lifestyle. You cannot seek cleansing through salt water while remaining in bitterness, resentment, or fear. The spiritual realm responds to alignment. When actions oppose declarations, results are limited. But when your life agrees with your words, progress becomes unstoppable. Protect your heart just as carefully as you protect your purpose. It is also important to guard the space where this water is used. Avoid allowing negative influences into your environment immediately after cleansing. If you do, they can bring back what you fought to remove. Instead, fill your home with prayer, worship, and positive declarations. Create an atmosphere where rejection and bad energy cannot live. Think of salt water as a spiritual lock. Once you seal your destiny with 3 drops, enemies cannot access what belongs to you unless you open the door for them. That is why guarding your environment, your thoughts, and your words after applying salt water is critical. Speak life, not death. Choose peace, not fear. These choices reinforce the lock and keep your enemies blinded. This is why testimonies are so powerful after this practice. People often say, "I do not know what happened, but suddenly things changed." That is the effect of a blinded enemy. They could not see, so they could not block. They could not monitor, so they could not stop. That sudden shift you feel is the evidence that salt water has done its work. In the next part, I will awaken your spirit even deeper. I will show you how to reflect on your journey, understand the authority you carry, and embrace the reality that rejection and bad energy no longer define you. This is where transformation becomes personal and your spirit rises to a new level of victory. Take a moment to reflect on your life. How many times have you faced rejection that had no explanation? How many doors closed when you knew you were qualified? How many relationships ended without reason, leaving you confused and hurt? These are not coincidences, they are patterns, and patterns are evidence of spiritual influence. But now you know that you are not powerless. God has given you authority, and even something as simple as 3 drops of salt water can rewrite your story. When you realize this, something shifts in your spirit. You stop blaming yourself, you stop thinking you are unworthy, and you start to see that rejection was never about you. It was about the destiny you carry. Enemies fight what they fear, and the reason you have faced so much rejection is because of the greatness inside of you. Once you awaken to this truth, rejection says its power because you understand that the battle was never against flesh and blood, but against forces that wanted to bury your life. This awakening also teaches you that spiritual solutions are not superstition. They are divine wisdom hidden in plain sight. Salt water is not random, it is symbolic, prophetic, and spiritual. When you use it, you are not practicing magic. You are activating divine truth. You are declaring that you refuse to walk under the shadow of rejection any longer and that your life will reflect favor, acceptance, and peace from this moment forward. Reflect also on how bad energy operates. It thrives in silence, in ignorance, in spaces where people accept suffering as normal. But the moment you expose it, the moment you confront it with spiritual authority, it scatters. Bad energy cannot survive in the presence of light. That is why you must continually fill your life with prayer, truth, and faith. When you do, you make yourself untouchable. This personal awa, kinning, should lead you to gratitude. Instead of dwelling on the pain of rejection, you begin to thank God for opening your eyes. Every battle you faced has led you to this point where you now hold the key to freedom. Gratitude shifts your atmosphere. It attracts acceptance, favor, and blessings while driving away the bitterness and heaviness that rejection once brought. You must also reflect on responsibility. Now that you know this truth, it is not just for you. Many around you are still suffering silently, confused about why life is so hard. You have the responsibility to share, teach, and to help them see that there is a way out. Your awakening is not just for personal victory. It is for collective freedom. When you rise, others rise with you. Let this truth sink in deeply. You are not rejected. You are chosen. You are not cursed. You are blessed. You are not surrounded by bad energy. You are covered with divine protection. Every time you apply those 3 drops of salt water, remind yourself of who you are. Speak it aloud. If you must declare that you are accepted, loved, and favored, these declarations reshape your reality. This is the moment where faith becomes personal. It is no longer about hearing the teaching, but about living it. When you rise tomorrow, you will walk differently. You will speak differently. And you will see rejection as an opportunity to activate your authority instead of a reason to cry. This is spiritual maturity, when you stop being a victim and start working as a victor. In the next segment, I will guide you through a powerful activation prayer. We will not only address rejection and harmful influence, but firmly command their exit for good. This prayer will confirm what you have learned, disrupt opposition, and surround you with divine favor. Prepare yourself, because a shift is about to take place over your life. Now is the moment to put into action what you have received. You have gained understanding. You have looked back on your path. The final step is to seal it through prayer. Gently close your eyes and enter this moment with focus, because this is not a routine prayer. It is a firm stand against rejection, negative influence, and every force observing your life. Speak with belief, because your voice carries authority. Father, I lift up this salt water before you. I declare that it is no longer ordinary, but a weapon of cleansing, protection, and breakthrough. As I apply these 3 drops, let every mark of rejection upon my life be erased. Let every curse that has spoken against me be broken. I hold it. Let every spirit of delay, shame, and limitation scatter now in the name of Jesus. I declare over my head that my destiny is sealed with favor. I declare over my hands that the work of my labor shall prosper. I declare over my home that peace, joy, and acceptance will dwell here. Every enemy that tries to monitor me shall be blinded. Every altar that speaks against me shall be silenced. Every covenant of rejection is destroyed. I speak to bad energy. You are powerless. You cannot remain in my life, in my family, or in my environment. I cleanse my atmosphere now, and I release the light of God to shine in every corner of my destiny. Where there was heaviness, let there be freedom. Where there was rejection, let there be acceptance. Where there was shame, let there be honor. Lord, I release my life into your hands. Cover me with divine favor, so that wherever I go, I will be seen, accepted, and celebrated. Let my enemies stumble and fall, but let my path be straight and filled with light. I declare that this day marks a new beginning. The old is gone, and a new chapter of favor has begun. Now I command every rejection to turn into open doors, every delay to turn into speed, every shame to turn into glory. I declare that my name will be mentioned in high places for good, that my destiny will shine brightly, and that no force of darkness will stop what God has ordained for me. This prayer is sealed with faith. The 3 drops of salt water are now your symbol of victory. Each time you apply them, remember this moment. Declare again and again that rejection is over. Bad energy is scattered and your enemies are blinded forever. Walk in confidence, for the battle is already won. You have now received a spiritual key that many people live their whole lives without discovering. Rejection is no longer your portion. Bad energy has no hold over you and your enemies are blinded. But remember, this is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of walking daily in freedom and authority. Never let this truth slip from your hands. Stay connected because life is spiritual and every day new battles rise. You cannot afford to fight in ignorance anymore. That is why Naomi is here to guide you, to reveal secrets hidden in plain sight, and to equip you with spiritual solutions that work. Do not walk this journey alone. Align yourself with a community that believes in victory and lives by faith. If this message has impacted you, pass it on to someone else. There are people around you quietly struggling with rejection and negative influence, confused by doors that keep closing without explanation. By sharing this truth, you become a source of light, a support that helps lift others from bondage. When you apply the 3 drops of salt water and begin to notice change, when rejection shifts to acceptance, when opportunities open, when opposition fades, return and share your testimony. Your experience why LL honor God and strengthen others to rise and stand firm as well. This is why you must keep watching. Each video is a P weapon. Each teaching is a key and each prayer is a shield. Subscribe, stay alert, and do not miss what is coming next. The enemy never rests, but neither should you. Equip yourself with truth daily, and your victory will grow stronger and stronger. Remember, you are not rejected. You are chosen. You are not bound. You are free. You are not weak. You are powerful. Keep declaring it, keep living it, and keep sealing it with faith. 3 drops of salt water are more than enough to rewrite your story forever. So watch, pray, and share. Let others know that freedom is real, that breakthrough is possible, and that spiritual solutions are not a myth, but a reality. Together, we rise above rejection, scatter bad energy, and blind our enemies. This is the path of victory, and it belongs to you. Now, stay with my channel. More truth is coming. More solutions will be revealed, and greater. Victories await you. Life is spiritual, and those who understand this will always walk in triumph. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of walking daily in freedom and authority. Never let this truth slip from your hands. Stay connected because life is spiritual and every day new. Battles rise. You cannot afford to fight in ignorance anymore. This is why Naomi is here, to help uncover truths that are often overlooked and to provide spiritual answers that bring real change. You do not have to stand alone. Walk with a community that believes in victory and lives by faith. If this message has stirred something within you, pass it on to someone else. There are people near you silently struggling with rejection and negative influence, confused by doors that keep closing without reason. By sharing this insight, you become a source of light, a voice of hope, a hand that helps lift others from bondage. When you apply the 3 drops of salt water and begin to see transformation, when rejection gives way to acceptance, when opportunities open, when opposition fades, return and share your testimony. Your experience will honor God and inspire others to rise, stand firm, and fight forward. This is why you need to stay connected. Every message is a tool. Every teaching unlocks understanding, and every prayer provides covering. Remain anger. Jed, stay watchful, and do not miss what follows. Opposition does not pause, and neither should your growth. Strengthen yourself daily with truth, and your victory will continue to increase. Remember this, you are not rejected. You are chosen. You are not restrained. You are free. You are not powerless. You carry strength. Keep speaking it. Keep walking in it. Keep confirming it through faith. Even 3 drops of prepared salt water can mark the beginning of a new chapter. So stay watching, stay praying, and keep sharing. Let it be known that freedom exists, breakthroughs can happen, and spiritual answers are real, not imaginary. Together we rise beyond rejection, disperse harmful influence, and overcome opposition. This is the way of victory, and it is yours to walk in. Stay connected with Naomi's man wisdom. More insight is ahead, more answers will unfold, and greater triumphs are waiting. Life has a spiritual dimension, and those who recognize it will always move forward in victory.